Hello, my name is Clara, and this is the story of how I became my own hero. No, I don't wear a cape. I don't have superpowers. But I've fought battles that no one saw, and I've survived storms that nearly drowned me. They said someone would come, that someone would save me, love me, fix me. So I waited, I cried, I broke in silence, but no one came. And one day, I realized something powerful. The person I was waiting for was me all along. That moment changed everything. I stood up, wiped my own tears, and decided to write a new story not as a victim, but as a warrior. Let me take you through that journey, how I stopped waiting, started healing, and became the strong woman I was always meant to be. They said I needed someone to save me. I waited, I hoped, I cried, but no one came. So one day, I made a choice. I picked myself up from the dirt, wiped my own tears, and stood tall. That was the day I decided I will be my own hero. No cape, no applause, just courage, pain, and unstoppable determination. This is not just my story, this could be yours too. Let me tell you how I rose from the ashes and became the person I was waiting for. I used to lie in bed and stare at the ceiling, hoping anyone would come into my life and pull me out of the darkness. I thought maybe a friend would notice how broken I was. Maybe a mentor would offer a hand. Maybe life would magically change if I just waited long enough. But days passed. Weeks, months, nothing changed. Instead, the pain grew louder. The silence became heavier. I remember one evening so clearly, it feels like it happened just yesterday. I had come home from work, drained, frustrated, and lost. I dropped my bag on the floor and sat at the edge of my bed, looking at myself in the mirror across the room. My eyes were tired, my shoulders slumped, and my heart felt like it was carrying the weight of the world. I whispered to myself, "Why is no one helping me?" I didn't realize it then, but that was the voice of someone trapped in the victim mindset, a mindset where I believed that someone else was responsible for saving me, that someone else would rescue me from my pain, my circumstances, my inner battles. But no one came. And one day, it finally hit me, not like a soft realization, but like a punch to the chest. I was waiting for someone to save me from a life I was creating by not taking control. It was in that moment of clarity, through the tears and the silence, that I made a decision. A small one at first. Nothing dramatic. I told myself, no one is coming, but I am here, and maybe, just maybe, I am enough to start saving myself. The shift in mindset, taking responsibility, didn't mean blaming myself for everything that went wrong. It meant owning my part. It meant understanding that while I couldn't control everything in life, I could control how I responded, what I allowed, and what I did next. I started by being honest with myself. I took a notebook and began writing everything I felt, angry or sad about, things people had done to me, moments that broke me, situations I had silently suffered through. Then, on the other page, I asked myself, what role did I play in this? Did I stay silent when I should have spoken? Did I keep waiting instead of acting? Did I let fear stop me from moving forward? It was hard. Sometimes, I cried just seeing the answers. But for the first time, I saw something powerful. I wasn't powerless. I had choices. And if I had choices, then I had the ability to change. Cleaning my inner house once, I stopped blaming others or hoping for miracles. I had to face the mess within me, the fear, the procrastination, the excuses, the self-pity. I had to stop saying things like, if only I had more support, if they hadn't left me, if life was just a little easier, and start asking, what can I do today, even if it's small? How can I be my own support system? What belief is holding me back right now? I made a rule. I would no longer complain about something I wasn't willing to change. That single rule forced me to stop waiting and start doing. Even if it was uncomfortable, even if it was slow, taking the first steps alone. I remember waking up one morning and deciding to take a walk. It sounds simple, but to me, it was powerful. That walk was my first act of reclaiming my life. With each step, I told myself, you are not helpless. You are not hopeless. You are just healing. Keep going. I began to do little things for myself, not because anyone told me to, but because I realized I deserved better. I started waking up earlier, even if I didn't feel like it. I cooked meals, instead of skipping them out of sadness. I turned off my phone for a few hours and wrote about my dreams again. I cleaned my room not just to tidy up, but to symbolically clear out the chaos in my mind. These were small actions, but each one was a declaration to the universe. I am not waiting anymore. I am taking back my power. Facing the resistance, let me be honest, wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to give up, days when I questioned, is this even worth it? Because the truth is, when you stop waiting for rescue and take full responsibility, there's no one else to blame, and that can be terrifying. But at the same time, it's freeing. You stop being a victim. You stop feeling small. You realize you are the only person who can walk your path. And every step you take, even if you stumble, is progress. I started to trust myself more. I stopped asking for permission to live my life. I didn't need everyone's approval. I didn't need constant motivation. I just needed to remember, I have survived so much already. I am capable of more than I think. Rewriting the script. Taking responsibility meant rewriting the script I had been living by. No longer was I the girl who had a hard life or the person who was left behind. I changed the story. I became the girl who rose up on her own, the woman who didn't wait for a hero but became one, the soul who turned every wound into wisdom. I stopped saying why me and started saying try me. And with every challenge, I asked, what is this trying to teach me? That shift changed everything. What taking responsibility really looks like. It's not glamorous. It's not always inspiring. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it means letting go of people you love because they keep you stuck, saying no to things that used to comfort you but no longer serve you, holding yourself accountable when you make excuses, forgiving yourself for not knowing better. Before, it's about building discipline, showing up for yourself, and making choices that your future self will thank you for. Becoming the person I needed when I stopped waiting for others to fix my life. I began to become the person I had always been waiting for, the one who encourages me when I'm down, the one who pushes me forward when I feel afraid, the one who loves me unconditionally. That person was me. It was always me. And now, I can stand in front of that same mirror and smile, not because life is perfect, but because I am no longer a prisoner of my own mind. I took responsibility. And in doing so, I took back my life. There's something about pain that makes you go quiet, not because you don't want to speak, but because deep down, you feel like no one will truly understand. That's how it started for me. I was smiling during the day, talking to people, attending events, pretending like everything was fine. But when I came home, I closed my door and sat with my silence. That silence knew everything. Every broken thought, every unshed tear, every sleepless night. No one saw the war I was fighting inside. And maybe that was the hardest part, not the pain itself, but the loneliness that wrapped around it. But it was in that silence, in those empty nights, that I began to change. Why I chose silence. Some people say you should always talk to others when you're struggling, And yes, that's important. But sometimes, you find yourself in a season where no one gets it. You try to explain how you feel, but your words don't come out right, or worse, they come out and people dismiss them, so instead, you sit with your thoughts. And it hurts. But you keep sitting, because you don't want to be misunderstood again. For me, silence wasn't just absence of noise. It was a space where I could hear myself, my real self, the one I had ignored for years while trying to be what everyone else wanted. I used to be afraid of being alone. I thought it meant I was unloved or unwanted. But I started to learn something powerful. Silence isn't the enemy. It's the birthplace of strength. The silent battles, the battles I fought, weren't visible. No one saw the anxiety that would grip me before going out. No one knew how many times I wrote a message and deleted it, afraid of being a burden. No one heard the voice in my head whispering, "You're not enough." Here are just a few of the silent wars I faced. Waking up with a heavy heart but choosing to face the day anyway. Forcing myself to smile when I felt completely empty inside. Dealing with the betrayal of people I trusted without saying a word. Looking at others living seemingly perfect lives and wondering what was wrong with me. Falling into sadness late at night but still waking up and trying again the next morning. Every time, I chose not to give up. Even in silence, I was building my strength. Quietly, privately, without recognition. And that's the kind of strength no one can take away from you. The mirror moments. There were nights when I'd stand in front of the mirror, look into my tired eyes, and say nothing. Just stare, as if searching for the person I used to be. The one who laughed louder, who dreamed bigger, and even though I couldn't see her clearly anymore, I knew she was still in there, buried beneath all the scars. So I began talking to myself, not with blame, but with kindness. You're doing better than you think. This isn't the end of your story. Look how far you've come, even if no one noticed. No one cheered for me. No one clapped. But I kept going. Because I realized something vital. If I can be strong in private, I will be unstoppable in public. Turning pain into power, I stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" And the lessons came slowly, painfully, but clearly. I learned how to be my own support system. I couldn't keep waiting for someone to check on me, so I became the one who checked in on myself. I asked myself daily, "What do you need today? What can I do to help you heal?" I learned that solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. Those quiet seasons were shaping me. They were toughening my spirit, sharpening my focus, and teaching me resilience. I started to see solitude as sacred time for growth, not loneliness. I learned that real strength is silent. Not everything needs to be announced. Some victories are quiet. Like choosing not to respond with anger. Like forgiving someone who never apologized. Like continuing to believe in yourself when no one else does. Building inner discipline in silence. I built routines. Tiny actions that grounded me and slowly rebuilt my identity. I started journaling every night, dumping every emotion on paper, so it didn't rot inside me. I took walks without music or podcasts, just listening to nature and my breath. I practiced gratitude, even when it felt unnatural. Today I'm grateful for making my bed. I'm thankful I got through the day without crying. These small disciplines began to form a powerful foundation. Brick by brick, I was building the new version of me, not the wounded version, but the warrior. The mind battles. One of the hardest silent battles was in my mind. The overthinking, the doubts, the self-criticism. I realized my worst enemy lived between my own ears. So I made it my mission to change that. Every negative thought, I challenged it. "You're not good enough." Gives actually. I've survived everything so far. That makes me pretty strong. Every time I failed, I messed up again. Gives that's one way I learned not to do it. I'll try another. Every time I felt afraid, I asked myself, what's scarier, trying and failing, or staying stuck forever? Bit by bit, I was rewiring my mind. I was teaching myself how to think like a fighter, not a victim. Becoming my own comfort. I used to wish someone would hold me when I cried. That someone would text me, "Are you okay?" or say, "I'm here for you." But that wish only brought more pain when it didn't come true. So I decided to give myself what I needed. I bought myself flowers one evening. No occasion, just because I deserved beauty. I wrapped myself in a soft blanket and whispered, "I've got you. I'm here." I learned how to be gentle with myself, how to soothe my own wounds, how to be my own comfort. It wasn't the same as someone else doing it, but in some ways, it was more powerful, because I proved to myself, I can survive and thrive even when I'm alone. What I gained from the silent struggle, looking back now, I don't resent the silence, I cherish it. Because it was in that space, in that solitude, that I transformed. Here's what I gained. Unshakable confidence, because I know what I've survived. Inner peace, because I no longer fear being alone. Real strength, because I built it with my bare hands, not borrowed it from others. Self-respect, because I showed up for myself when no one else did. No one will ever understand what I went through, and that's okay. Because I understand. I know the tears, the breakdowns, the moments I thought I wouldn't make it but I did, and that makes me proud. You don't need applause to be strong. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who suffered in silence and still chose to be kind, to move forward, to grow. If you're in that silent season right now, let me say this to you. Your strength is real, even if no one sees it. Your battles matter, even if no one claps for your victories. You are not weak for being tired. You're human, and you don't need permission to keep going. Keep fighting, keep building, keep growing, because one day you'll look back and realize that silence didn't break you, it built you. There's something beautiful about pain, though we don't see it in the moment. Pain arrives uninvited. It rips through your peace, shakes your identity, and demands that you face truths you've spent your whole life avoiding. That's what it did to me. But what I didn't know then was that pain was also planting something inside me. A seed, and with time, struggle, and self-love, that seed would grow into something powerful, the strongest version of me. This is the part of my story where I stopped being the victim of my circumstances and became the person I always needed, the one who saved me. First, I had to feel the pain. Turning pain into power doesn't mean pretending it doesn't hurt. No, you must feel it, every drop of it. I cried a lot. There were nights I held my chest because the ache inside me felt unbearable. There were mornings I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without feeling broken. And for a long time, I asked myself, why me? Why did life deal me this hand? Why did people leave? Why did I always end up alone? But then, one day, I asked a different question. What if this pain is here to teach me something? That question changed everything. From questions to purpose. I began to look at my story like a puzzle. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every failure, every lonely night. They weren't just random moments of suffering. They were pieces of the woman I was becoming. I stopped running from the pain and started studying it. Why did that heartbreak destroy me so much? Because I gave someone else the love I never gave myself. Why did that failure shake my identity? Because I was tying my worth to my achievements. Why did being alone scare me? Because I had never learned to enjoy my own company. And just like that, pain became my teacher. Rewriting my story, instead of saying, I was hurt. I began to say, I was shaped by it. I was strengthened by it. I rose because of it. I wrote letters to my younger self. I forgave her for trusting the wrong people, for staying too long, for shrinking herself, for not knowing her worth. And then I made a promise. I will become the person she needed. Building the new Meeps by piece, I built her. I started showing up for myself. I stopped canceling on myself. If I said I would go for a walk, I went. If I said I'd eat healthy, I did. I treated myself like someone I deeply respected. I developed boundaries. I no longer let people use me or disrespect my time. I didn't explain myself endlessly. I simply said, no. I became emotionally honest. If I was sad, I said it. If I needed space, I took it. I didn't hide behind smiles anymore. I allowed myself to be real. I pursued growth over comfort. I read books that challenged me. I listened to podcasts that opened my mind. I didn't settle for easy. I wanted to evolve. Every habit, every mindset shift, every small win, it added up. I was no longer waiting for someone to make me feel seen. I saw myself. I was no longer hoping someone would validate me. I validated myself. I was no longer craving a hero. I had become one. My pain became my fuel. I looked at my scars, and instead of hiding them, I wore them like medals. That scar on my heart from loving too deeply. It taught me boundaries. That scar from betrayal. It taught me discernment. That scar from being overlooked. It taught me to see myself, even when others didn't. My pain gave me eyes to see others more clearly. My pain gave me empathy. My pain gave me purpose. Now, when someone tells me they're broken or tired or lost, I don't just hear them, I understand them. Because I've been there. I've walked through that fire. And I know there's light on the other side. I started helping others as I healed. I realized something amazing. The strength I built in silence was not just for MIT, was for others too. I started sharing parts of my story, quietly at first, a post, a message, a few words to a struggling friend. I told them, you're not alone. I said, I've felt that too. And most importantly, I said, you're stronger than you think. People began to open up to me. Not because I was perfect, but because I was real. That's when I truly understood what becoming your own hero means. It's not just about saving yourself. It's about turning around and lighting the way for someone else. Becoming the person I needed. I had always dreamed of someone who would show up without being asked, hold space for me to cry, remind me of my worth when I forgot, challenge me to grow, not shrink, choose me, even when I was messy. So I became her. I woke up each day and said, how can I love myself today? On hard days, I made tea and took things slow. On motivated days, I worked like a warrior. On lonely days, I wrote letters to my future self. On tired days, I reminded myself that rest is not weakness. I didn't wait to be rescued anymore, because I finally realized the person I was waiting for had been inside me all along. The transformation, and I went from, why doesn't anyone care about me? Gifts to I care deeply about myself. I can't handle this pain. Gives to this pain is shaping my power. I wish someone understood me. Gives to I deeply understand myself. That's what becoming your own hero looks like. That's not a dramatic scene from a movie. It's quiet moments of bravery that no one sees. It's showing up for yourself when it's the last thing you feel like doing. It's choosing growth, even when comfort screams your name. It's forgiving yourself again and again until you finally feel free. The hero I am today. Today, I still face challenges. Life isn't perfect. But now, I face them with strength I never knew I had. When life knocks me down, I don't wait for someone to pick me up. I breathe. I cry if I need to. And then, I rise. I've stopped expecting others to complete me. I've stopped shrinking to fit in places I've outgrown. I've stopped apologizing for needing time, space, or truth. Because I am the hero of my story. Not the side character. Not the victim. Not the forgotten one. The hero. With wounds, with wisdom. With fire in my soul. A message to you if you're reading this and feeling like you're still in the middle of your storm. Hear me. You don't need a perfect life to become powerful. You don't need applause to become valuable. You don't need rescuing, you need yourself. Your pain is not the end. It is the beginning of a deeper, stronger, more powerful version of you. So feel it, face it, learn from it, and then do the bravest thing of all. Choose to rise, because one day, you'll look back and say, I thought that pain would destroy me, but it built me. I thought I needed a hero, but I became one.